Let's get it poppin'.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, we discuss the Breen team. That's right, folks, the Breen team. Councilman Mike Breen and wife Patty Breen. I also want to discuss the city council meeting that took place yesterday. Go over that a little bit. Hello. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, I titled the episode The Breen Team. I will be discussing the recent article that was released to subscribers only on the Yonkers Tribune in regards to Mike Breen, councilman out of the 5th District. My councilman, how dare you? And his wife, Patty Breen, realtor to the stars. That's right. I was able to get a chance to read the article. It is subscription only, or as I like to say, insider only. But I'm the outsider with the insider appeal and feel. You understand? So I will talk about that, and I'll read it to you guys, and I'll also post it up on the page afterwards. I just wanted to go over the meeting yesterday, city council meeting, just really quick. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch it. I like to go over that stuff. I think it's important. It's very important that we go over it. First item, and this one is big. First item, the meeting was the transfer of 66 Pier Street over to the YIDA, the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency. 66 Pier Street, along with 70 Pier Street, it's actually two properties, is going to be transferred over to the YIDA. It was approved 7-0. I mean, these guys did everything 7-0 yesterday. 7-0. And according to the newly appointed deputy counsel, Helen Agri, they're going to mark that it was sold for market rate for a price of $350,000. Now, I don't think that's market rate. The property currently belongs to the Yonkers Parking Authority, and it will be transferred over in a sale to the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency for $350,000. It was approved 7-0. You can look into that, right? They authorized the sale. It was in the real estate committee earlier that day with Mr. Rubo cheering because he was pushing for this. He was absolutely pushing for this. And so he voted on it. They were like, can we put it into the meeting today? I mean, to tonight's, agenda for the meeting so we can vote on it. I mean, nothing discussion or time at all. They agreed to do that. It went into the agenda for the meeting that night, the city council meeting, and it was voted on right away. Well, that was what happened there in that meeting. Two properties, 66 and 70 Pier Street. 66 Pier Street is a vacant parking lot owned by the Parking Authority. The redevelopment of the site is under review currently with the Ludlow Community Plan, aka the Ludlow rezoning plan. They're going to rezone that area, put a nice little bike trail there so Eileen O'Connor could bike. All right, she doesn't want to go through Riverdale, guys. Make sure you don't go through Riverdale. Eileen O'Connor does not want to go through Riverdale. Okay, and she's not invisible; she's indivisible. Okay, so make sure you get that straight and put it along the Hudson. The proposal to incorporate 66 and 70 into a 36-unit, 3-story apartment with internal parking space for 35 cars. And also, they will rehab the Central Park there near the train station, Ludlow area. They were going to do it up over there, folks. If you live over there and you own a house and you like the fact that it's quiet, it's done. You're done. As a kid, I used to walk through there. The Sunnyside Drive, right, goes through the or past the Ludlow train station over there to go over to Fayfield. I think that's what it's called over there in Valentine to play Little League for Luddale. And I loved it because it was like a whole nother world, even though it wasn't that far from Buena Vista Avenue. We used to cut through the junkyard there that they had, and they had a big salt mountain, and we would jump down the salt mountain. It was fun. And we walk over to practice and to games. We didn't have our parents take us. It wasn't like that. We went, we just were motivated. And I remember just walking through there and seeing and remembering how quiet it was and peaceful. But not anymore, folks. Not anymore. Anyway, Rubo asked if they would change, if that could change and they would add more units. He was asking the council that was there, a gentleman by the name of Steve. I didn't get his last name. I apologize. He said they probably not what they have there in the proposals, what's going to be, but please, you never know. They said the same thing about the developments in the downtown area, and they went higher. All right. They actually went higher. And he said, the developers are looking to make the area better. It's a great thing. I'm sure. All right. Then Rubo asked, this is important for the affordable housing folks. Rubo asked if it would have 10% affordable housing, this new development. And the response from the council was, the city council, corporate council, was that the current affordable housing order today would have fewer than 10% affordable housing units, affordable units in the development because it is a smaller development. However, if any of the new proposals for the HO, Affordable Housing Ordinance, move forward, it could increase. So basically saying this development is not going to have at least 10%. It's going to be less, right? It's only 36 units. And that it could change if the new proposals, so there are new proposals out there, apparently, for the Affordable Housing Ordinance. So what does that look like? We don't know yet. It hasn't been presented to the public. I knew this was coming. I knew they were waiting for, Cater to get out, and they wanted to take all the credit, certain individuals. It's all strategy. So you play a game with the people. You don't care about the fact that they can't afford where they live. They need a place to live. They need affordable housing. You don't care. It's all strategy. You're worrying about the elections next year. Come on. Right? So it could change. I doubt it. And I doubt it because they've purposely stalled it also because they want all them to go up. Let them go up before we change it. Then we change it. And then it's too late, right? They went up. Shanae Williams had a question. Whoa. She actually had a question. She asked about the ground floor space, which is now listed in the proposal as an area that they're going to have amenities for the development. And she asked if it would change to retail. I like that question. All right. Because that's a difference, right? You have just amenities for the people or you have retail and a bunch of people shopping, right? What kind of amenities are you going to have there? Maybe a strip club or something. I don't know. Anyway, so according to Steve, he says they would have to ask the developer. Okay. Ask the developer. I don't know, Anyway, so she asked also if it had been presented in front of the planning board. The response from corporate counsel was that 70 Pierce Street was presented to the zoning board briefly, whatever that meant. I don't know. I'm just trying to relay a message. I have no idea. These people don't care if we know or not. Why don't we ask Eileen? I'm sure she knows something. Shanae asked that it be left in committee until they spoke to the developer. Moranti, important. Also, folks, this is important. Moranti, I like the question, Moranti. I like it. I know you try to pretend to be, doing your job as a Republican, but at least pretending does something, right? As he asked about pilots, right? Pilots are payment in lieu of taxes. So what that means is that the YIDA, the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, which has a gentleman by the name of James Kavanaugh as its president, a gentleman that was investigated by the Inspector General of New York State, okay, during his time over at Battery Park. Read up on that. I put that up on my page. Go check it out. I also talked about it on previous podcasts. Anyway, pilots payments in lieu of taxes. That means that developers get to, bypass paying what their obligations would normally be. Like you and I, when we have to pay our taxes, we can try to do deductions, right? Try to reduce our tax liability. But we don't get that much. But these guys get to, pay a certain amount, which is a lot lower than what their taxes would normally be, instead of paying their normal taxes, right? So it's like a deal that they get. And many times they'll get these deals for 10 to 15 years. And these pilots are usually from property taxes. Why is that important? Because property taxes go to a lot of our services here in the city of Yonkers, like education, things like that, And that's important because if they're shorting us, but they're bringing in a lot of people who are going to utilize those services, then they should be paying their fair share, right? Got people using the water, police, right? The schools are becoming more crowded, more used up and stuff like that. Things are wearing up more. So they have to pay their fair share. Don't give them breaks. Give me a break. Give you guys a break, right? Not ever happening. Anyway, so he asked about that. The response wasn't sure, but he was sure that it would get a pilot because all new developments get pilots. Silly. Duh. Helen Agri, the newly appointed deputy counsel for the Corporation of Yonkers, says it needs to be held in committee until they make some changes in the local law by the law department. So yes, Sinead, they'll hold it in committee, but not because you asked, because we don't really care what you have to say, right? We even surprised that you had a question. But we're going to keep it in committee because we've yet to change the laws in order for us to be able to do this. Okay, so until we change the law, which we're working on with the law department, we're going to leave it in committee. I would have been like, what laws are you changing? I mean, how do you, this has become a common thing among elected officials if you've been paying attention. They just changed the law. Just change the law. Whatever you want to do, change the law. Right? So this will state that this, so, and then they also, again, now we're talking about price. And this is another thing that's important. So 66 Pier Street and 70 Pier Street are going to be transferred over to the YIDA, and it's going to be recorded, according to Helen Agri, the deputy counsel, that it was paid, that fair market value was paid, or they received, the city of Yonkers or the Yonkers Parking Authority, which owns the property, received fair market value of $375,000. Now you tell me, is that fair market value? Prime real estate where developers are drooling to buy land and real estate in an area, in a town, in a city that is like scarce now. It's like nothing, right? They say that all the time. There's nowhere to build now. There's no more land. So you're going to sell this, basically going to give this away for $375,000? Either you guys don't know how to do business or you guys are purposely doing this, giving a break here. I mean, you can get a lot more. They're going to do something big there, okay? They're going to make a lot of money. This isn't just someone who's going to buy it just to, sit on a lawn chair on the piece of property, right? They're going to build a mega structure there, and they're going to make a lot of money, all right? So, and then there was another item on there, item number 3, a special permit was approved for 631 Yonkers Avenue and 41 Alita. That's over in Rubo's district. I don't know what he's got going on with this project or this owner of this thing who asked for this or who wants this to happen, because he was like really like pushing for it. It's gonna be a great thing. It's in my district, but it may be, but geez, can you act like you're not like a part of the deal somehow? You know what I'm saying? Like, relax, dude. I mean, there's a lot of things that can improve the city that you're not jumping, up for and going crazy about. So relax, homie, relax. How much did the guy pay you to make sure it gets through? Get that 7-0 vote, huh? So it's a hustle. It's a hustle. That's a hustle. Anyway, he pushed to move this out of committee. And I'm talking about there with the fourth, the one I just mentioned, 631 Yonkers Ave. Pushed to move it out of committee right away. Excuse me. And into that meeting that day, I said, John must be a psychic because it was already on the agenda for the following meeting, for the Yonkers City Council meeting. So it's like they knew that everyone would be okay with it coming out of committee and being put onto the meeting that was coming up. He's a psychic. He's a psychic. So anyway, then there was the committee of the whole meeting, right? So that no one spoke. There were no speakers. I don't know what the heck that means. Can somebody explain that? Committee of the whole meeting. The city council president asked if there were anyone in the gallery who wanted to make a speech or speak or say anything. She didn't hear nothing. She said, no speakers, no communications. I bring this meeting to a close. Bam. Then she does it all over again. Welcome to the city council meeting on January 3rd. Okay, I thought that you already did that and started the meeting, but you closed it. Now you're starting. I don't know. So maybe I have to figure that out. But the next meeting, they spoke about a grant, or actually, the grant that they applied for, $2 million. $2 million. A cool $2 million coming from the CARES Act, something like that, money that's there that they can apply for. And they have 3 initiatives, 3 very important initiatives. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard many people speak about this, but the first one that they spoke about was hoarding. Okay. It's very important. They mentioned a lot of this hoarding stuff. I mean, we're talking about $2 million here. Are you buying hoarders new homes? I mean, I don't know. But they spoke about hoarding. There was a speaker that came there. I forgot her name was. If I find it, I'll let you know. But she was the chair, or she is the chair of the Yonkers Hoarders Task Force. I didn't even know they had this. A Yonkers Hoarders Task Force. Is hoarding really that big of a problem? And I know about hoarding, not because I'm a hoarder. I think my wife is a hoarder, however, but not to the extent that they need a task force to come into my home, right? But in my line of work, I go into homes and I see individuals who are hoarders, and it's it could get pretty bad. And firemen, have a term for it. It's called Collier's Mansion. They announce it over the radio to alert other firemen because that presents a dangerous situation in fires. They can't make their way through the home. You're expecting it to be a certain way, the layout, and it's not because they have all this stuff stacked high. And now that is an issue with mental health. Right. And so, I understand that they definitely need to kind of get some help if there are individuals who are having issues with hoarding. However, I mean, to make this whole thing about, primarily about hoarding, $2 million, somebody's looking to skim some money off the top there. This is skim money. Somebody's skimming money off here. She talked about that the hoarding or the task force, the hoarders task force, consisted of multiple departments, 42 people, which are consisting of the Office of the Aging, Police, Fire Department, Parks Department, Legal Services Association, nonprofits, organizations, and other stuff. It was first started by Legal Services of Hudson Valley, which I thought this was coincidence because someone had just mentioned this to me that same day. I had never heard of Legal Services of Hudson Valley, and then I hear about it again. I don't know, maybe that's just, something that happens all the time, and I just think that it's some weird stuff. It's a sign or something, but I don't know. But I thought that was strange, so I said I got to look into this and see what's up. But yes, they started in 2014, the Hoarders Task Force, right? And they go to people's homes. They do cleanouts. They have organizers. I guess, listen, if you don't address the real issue, the mental health issue that they're suffering for, you can clean it out and organize it. And guess what? It's going to go back the same way. Go right. There was a show called Hoarders. I don't know if you guys ever watched that show. Check it out. If you haven't, you'll understand it a little better. Right. So it's a lot to do with mental health and addressing that specific, thing with them is, eventually, yes, you can clean it out and organize it. But if you don't address the primary issue, the root cause, it's not going to be. And I guess they said that there was some money going to go to there, but I just think there's a fluff. There's a fluff, like they're skimming money. I just don't see where $2 million is going to go. And then there was some money that's going to go to the Snug program, YMCA. They're going to buy them a van so they can, travel and do stuff, what did they do? And so I've been talking about this stuff, organizations and where does money go? Yonkers is limited on funds, correct? We're always talking about budget shortfalls. We need to manage our money correctly. We have to get the most bang for the buck. You understand? Bang for the buck. So we want to make sure we maximize our rate of return. So we get some money, like $2 million. Is that the best way to spend that money? I'm just saying. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying, is it the best way? It's not against anyone specifically, but we have to see some return on that investment. What are the results? There's money going into different things, all the time. And what are the results? Because here we go again, 2022. And what do we see? Increasing crime, increasing homelessness, increasing drug addiction, and mental health. So, I mean, another year, same old. So there were some other things there. Look, it's a silly thing. They really speak about this like like everyone knows about it. Here's a just kind of advice before I get off this part to the council people. You guys may know what some of this other stuff, you've talked about it or whatever, but the people don't know. You have to act like you're talking about it for the first time if you're gonna invite the people to watch. Otherwise, what's the point? Because people can easily get lost. I want to know more. Like, why do you guys just vote it 7-0 so easily and so quick? I mean, what's the, not just that specific thing with that grant. There were other items, on the agenda there in the meeting that I just wanted to know, why did you vote yes for it? Why did you all vote yes for it? I mean, what's your thinking? What's your thought process behind that? I want to understand it more. Where do you see the benefits for the city and the people? Because none of that is explained. None of that. And then it's accept this grant money, that grant money, and where does that really go? Where does that really go? Okay, so we're catching on to that stuff. All right, at least I am. I don't know about you guys. But at least I am. Anyway, let's get out of here. Let's get out the meeting. All right. Let's get out the meeting. Enough of that. We know that this is crazy.
Let's get it popping.
That's right. Let's get it popping now. Today, I was alerted to an article in the Yonkers Tribune. This guy right here is incredible, Mr. Hezzy. The article was about Mike Breen. Someone says, article in the Yonkers Tribune, Mike Breen and Patty Breen quid quo pro. The Breen team. The Breen team. And I have been talking about Mike Breen. I've spoken about him in prior podcasts. I may have spoken about him yesterday. I probably did. I mentioned that he was running for city council. Assembly, New York State Assembly. He's making an announcement on March 11th. I believe that's this Saturday. He's going to announce his bid for assembly. He's going to run against Nader Sayegh. I've been announcing that. I've been mentioning that even before he announced that he was making an announcement. I also mentioned that he was told it was not a good idea. He was told by someone it was not a good idea. And I said, when you are told by this individual that it's not a good idea to run, it's not a good idea to run. And now, today, I'm finding out that there's this article in the Yonkers Tribune, salacious, a bit disrespectful, and now I understand. It wasn't a good idea, and here you go. It's beginning. This is the negative campaign stuff. And I've spoken about Mike Breen. I have. I've mentioned him. I've criticized him. I did. Be the first to tell you. But I do it in a certain way. I may be funny. I may add some humor to it. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't tend to sugarcoat it anyway. But I try not to be disrespectful. I try to be funny. If you find it disrespectful, I apologize. I'm trying to be funny. But this blatant disrespect, I don't do. And that's what I found out about this article. This is obviously an attack on Mike Breen, and it's a hit job. It's a political hit job. Here we go again. Here we go again. We've seen this before. It was only last year that it was Mike Cater who was the target of a political assassination that sprung from an article in the Yonkers Tribune. It's Groundhog Day. You ever seen the movie? You should watch it. You'll understand. The article talks about Mike Breen, speaks of his wife, and then it goes to talk about his children, which I didn't like because I didn't think it was relevant all the way. At least it didn't have to be that detailed, right? It didn't have to mention where they worked exactly, which precinct, because they are police officers. Didn't have to mention who they married. He could have simply said his children wound up with jobs in the Yonkers Police Department. But he made it seem as if he's the only one, as if Mike Breen is just this rogue elected official that is abusing his power. And I mentioned abuse of power last night on my podcast. I mentioned things that Hezzy has not written about, yet he portrays himself as a journalist who's writing an article to expose some form of corruption here going on with Mike Breen and his wife, Patty. Some of it I agree with in terms of what he was saying. I agree with the things, but The point is that if you're going to write about Mike Breen in this manner, then you have at least 6 more articles to write. And you should get to writing. I've mentioned quid quo pro allegations involving John Rubo. Nothing from Hezi. Nothing from the Yonkers Tribune. People say, you're like the new Hezi, Freddy. No, I'm not. I'm Freddy Vasquez, the one and only, just as you are who you are, the one and only, right? There's a difference. And it's not just that I do a podcast and he writes. Definitely a difference. I'm consistent. I'm not a puppet. No one's behind me. No one's writing me a check, believe it or not. And I know people have mentioned that. People will say, Hezi's brave and, but now he's been quiet and boom, bam, beam, and Yes, Hezi's always been a person that's been out for himself. Before he was sued by Keith Olson, president of the police union, the articles he wrote about exposing elected officials here in the city of Yonkers were really self-interest. He wanted to be some journalist, some investigative expose award-winning or Pulitzer Prize winner or whatever. That's what it was about. And now it's about saving his ass and making sure that he doesn't get buried by the guys who sued him. He was already, a judge already made the ruling that he was not a legitimate news site, a legitimate journalist, and that opened him up for the lawsuit. And here he goes again, an article on Mike Breen. And I'm going to read it for you. I'm sure for you guys here. I don't have the title here, but anyway, present March 9th, 2020 to the present. Yonkers City Councilman Mike Breen, representing District 5, and his wife, Patricia Breen, began their political engagement with then New York State Assemblyman Mike Spano in the 1990s. In time, the mayor meandered his way from the Republican Party into the Democratic Party. Patty and Mike Breen maintained and nurtured their friendship and political affiliation with the present Mayor Mike Spano, even while retaining their their Republican Party roots. Even though they each became more entrenched in their respective political affiliations, they each maintained and sustained their friendship to the present. In time, a promise made to the Breens came to roast. It took place 8 years after Yonkers City Councilman John Murtaugh had completed serving Yonkers City Council District 5 for 2 4-year terms. The drama took place at the Republican nominating convention that this reporter attended. It was at that venue, from the back of the room, that Patty Breen shouted, "It's Mike's turn. It's his turn." And true to their word, excuse me as I turned the page, anyway, I don't know if I got it right. Voted as though she would have been. I'm sorry, I got it in pieces. She blurted out who the culprit was. I was not able to validate her assertions at the time, nor since, so I let it go. Eventually, I forgot about the incident and became engulfed in other issues and concerns. 20 years later, Patty Breen is demanding the powers that be support her husband for the office of New York State Assembly, representing New York State's Assembly District 90. Any political wanker in Yonkers, how or if Councilman Breen delivered on any issues for the 5th City Council District. I agree with that. He's saying there, you can ask anyone who is into politics or follows politics, has Mike Breen done anything? I would agree with that. I've mentioned it. I've wondered what he's done. again, and I've made some jokes there. You can go and check that out. I seriously doubt if anyone can name even one thing Councilman Breen did for the benefit of the electorate. What we do know is that Councilman Breen has voted for tax increases ad nauseum. He was blindly serving himself rather than serving his constituents. Perhaps Patty Breen didn't explain Mike Breen's responsibilities to her husband. Then again, maybe she did. Yonkers-ites will have to decide. Ouch. Besides making sure to get the vote out on behalf of Mike Breen for New York State Assembly, challenging President New York State Assembly Nader Sage, Patty Breen is once again demanding that should her husband fail to get elected, he must be given a job. Imagine that. She is telling Mayor Mike Spano what he must do for her husband. So for Patty Breen has done well. So far Patty Breen has done well for herself. Mike Breen has also milked the system for all it's worth and looking for more. It's time this sort of expectation I got to turn the page. So I'm trying to find the page because it was sent to me in pieces. I'm actually going to I was going to read it from my phone. Anyway, I have to get the other piece. I'm sorry. It was sent to me in pieces. The person trying to figure out where it does even pick up. Where did they put it where it picks up? I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll read this piece. Yonkers City Councilman, I'm sorry, it was given to me in pieces. I don't have a subscription. Yonkers City Councilman Mike Breen is slated to divulge his run for New York State Assembly District 90, challenging the honorable. And again, I believe that this was written because Hezi is supporting Nader Sage, right? And I'll explain more. Anyway, is divulge. He's challenging Honorable State Assemblyman Nader Sage this coming Saturday, March 12th. The Yonkers Tribune has learned that Councilman Breen does not own a car, yet is licensed to drive. He drives a Ford that is part of the city of Yonkers fleet. I did see him in it one time on Central Avenue. Councilman Breen has had a city car since 2012, 10 years so far. Now, check out what he says here. Gasoline prices for the consumer are presently in the $4.50 per gallon range and likely will climb to over $5 a gallon. And I believe he's talking about regular because I paid $5.35 yesterday. The city of Yonkers pays for the gas. Based on recent and expected gasoline prices, the Breens are saving. This guy is really clocking their pockets. The Breens are saving about $40 every week. They travel to Long Beach, New Jersey, which we have heard is every weekend chance they get. The drive is about 240 miles round trip, very close to a full tank of gas. On top of that, the city of Yonkers pays for the car insurance. The zinger is that a Yonkers City fleet car is not permitted to be used for travel beyond the city limits. Even so, the city of Yonkers permits this abuse. Well, who does? There have been other documented circumstances that Yonkers City Council members have traveled beyond the Yonkers border. A no-no, and let's face it, the Yonkers Board of Ethics no longer maintains a functioning board, and the issue has not been presented and or undertaken by Yonkers Inspector General Liam McLaughlin. Well, there's a story, Hezi. And by the way, the Yonkers Board of Ethics no longer maintains a functioning board. Isn't that the same Board of Ethics that said it was okay for John Rubo to chair the real estate committee? Did they just disband after that? Anyway, longer maintains a functioning board, and the president undertaken by Yonkers Inspector General Liam McLaughlin for a ruling to expunge the law or demand obedience to its legal construct. Those who abide and adhere to the statute are regarded as having no clout, while those who don't have protection to do as they please. So what do you think, folks, about that article? I want to read some of the comments. Actually, I want to let me finish reading. Did anyone mention Mike Breen and family? Mike Breen had a Bronxville taxi service which failed. See, again, like that. I mean, at least I said limo company, right? He and then there was a hot dog stand that also failed. I never knew about that. I didn't say anything. Then he talks about Patrick Breen Jr., talks about the son. Started his employment as patrol officer out of the Yonkers 2nd Precinct, followed by an effort. This is like, you see what he's trying to say? This is like, he's being condescending here. Followed by an effort. He gave an effort, but he didn't quite, right? Followed by an effort as a plainclothes patrol officer in the 2nd Precinct, and presently, after taking a sergeant test, now serves in the 3rd Precinct. You better watch out, Hezzy. Patrol Officer Megan Breen applied for a position into the YPD traffic unit, yet failed the first time. Even so, she was afforded a second opportunity, which is not a usual circumstance. Well, who afforded it to her? It wasn't Mike Breen, Hezzy. Patrol Officer Megan Breen became a sergeant in the Yonkers Police Department Medical Control Unit. She married, and this is another thing. Why do you put who she married? That doesn't have any relevance to anything. She married a 3rd Precinct police officer who thereafter became a YPD detective. Well, we don't know why he became a YPD detective. Maybe he's a great cop, Hezzy. See, again, you provide no information, but you throw that out there. So this is that's what I call a political hit piece. It's all about creating a perception. And I'll be the first to tell you, I've criticized Mr. Breen, Councilman Breen. And no, I have not spoken to him. And no, he has not written me a check. Okay? He has not. I just like to keep things straight and honest. We can't allow this. I just want to read a quick, clear comment. Hezzy, what may be lost on the residents of Yonkers is any employee, Mike Breen, after 10 years the employee is entitled to a lifetime pension of 2% of their annual salary. For each year of service, in Breen's case, it would be 24% of his current salary in the event that he doesn't remove term limits altogether. He can't do that by himself. How do you see? So again, whoever's writing this comment is part of this. And I want you guys to understand this, because it's not about Breen, just like it wasn't about Cater when I spoke about him on Catergate. It's about explaining, having you see how things happen here, why we keep getting screwed. Right? Let's stop getting screwed. I don't like to be screwed. In addition, it includes continued health benefits, not bad for less than a part-time position. Yes. Okay. Well, comment on all of them. I don't have a problem with his children being members of YPD. Yeah. You see how they're trying to, because Hezzy took it a little they didn't realize you were going to do that. So we got to kind of, we don't want to mess with the YPD. Get them, boys. Go get them. Mess around with that. After all, it did require them to take and pass the civil service test and be appointed to their position. Absolutely. And they're not the only ones. His kids are not the only kids. And if he has two, then I'd say he's one of the last ones people should worry about. I don't know if you saw that there. But this is the political hit piece. That's what I call a political hit piece. It's all about putting out a perception and image, right? Because they want, obviously, this is about making sure that Nader wins. So did Nader put you up to this, Hezzy? Was it Nader who got you to write this article? Nah, it wasn't Nader. You know it wasn't Nader. It wasn't Nader. I know who it was. It was that guy that's managing, in my opinion, Ada Medina's campaign. Hezzy Jerris. Zahi Jerris. I said it backwards. Hezzy and they might as well be Hezzy Jerris, right? You got Hezzy Jerris now. Zahi Jerris. That's right. He's behind this. Nader Sage is his horse in the race. He's got to make sure his horse is going to win. A lot of people are betting on it. A lot of people have already been to the window and they put their money down. He's got to win. And they're scared because there's this talk about a red wave, in these coming elections, a Republican red wave, because it happens when people get tired of the Democrats. Nader Sage, a Democrat, has also come under fire for his stance on bail reform. He's taking a lot of heat on bail reform. So he's going to have to contend with that when it's time to really get in on this election and re-election. And if and when he does any debates, that will come up. So they have to go after Breen hard because the Republicans have the momentum. The Republicans have the momentum. Nader is just as much of a deadbeat politician, a lame duck, as Breen. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. So really, either one. But at this point, if we're going to see operatives doing this on behalf of Nader Sage, then I'd rather have Breen in there if it's the lesser of two evils, right? So this is what this is about. Zahi Jarris, this is what he does. He's the guy behind the Mike Cater attacks. I believe he's the guy that sent people to assault me or to harass my business. He's also behind the majority leader. He is the one that sponsored her. The last time I saw the man in the flesh, it was over there in Pelham at the Tasha Diaz event, fundraising event. I came incognito. I went as a contributor. I brought a check and everything. Oh, I played the part good. And I saw him there. We looked at each other, and then he disappeared. I don't think he was scared of me. I just said he disappeared. I didn't see him anymore. And he's the one that sponsors Tasha Diaz. He sponsors Nader Sage. These are his horses. And he's running his horses, and he doesn't want him to lose. And that is why Mike Breen was told, and he knows this, that it was not a good idea to run. Because the person that told you, Mike, and you know who it was, right? Because you spoke to them, told you that because they know that person well. They know Zahi well. And he knew that was coming. And he tried to warn you because he likes you. Or maybe he doesn't like you. Maybe he likes your wife. Not like that. I mean, they do business together. Right? They do real estate together. So maybe he felt the need to kind of give you a warning. And I told you on the show, if he tells you that, it's not a good idea. But hey, that wasn't to discourage you, but to warn you. You should have known this was coming. If you want to come on my show, you can. If you want to have a platform, because it looks like you won't have one on the Yonkers Tribune. Dang, that's one harsh expose. Yeah, it is. It's a political hit piece, but it's not unique. And that's my point. It's not unique. Why isn't he writing articles like that about John Rubo? And if he wants to talk about cars going out of Yonkers, why isn't he mentioning Corazon Pineda? And why isn't he mentioning the fact that she's had about 5 different addresses within the time that she's been a council person? And I doubt any of them were in her district. Yeah, go check it out. I've been to the registered address. I think the building department should pay the visit too. You want to condemn something, building department? I'll give you something to condemn. Yep. Why aren't you writing those articles? Why aren't you writing the fact that Liam McLaughlin has been, hobnobbing at political events, rubbing elbows with elected officials and candidates? You can't do that. You can't do that. How's he going to investigate these individuals possibly one day if he's their friend? And let me ask you, you mentioned Patty Breen demanding a job for her husband, Mike, which, listen, I ain't mad at that. That's what a wife's supposed to do. Hold her man down. That's right. Better give my man a job. That's what my wife does. She love that girl. That's why. My wife's tougher than me. We're two tough people. And she demanded, where did she get that idea from? Do you think that Patty Breen just said, you know what, I'm going to be the only one. No one's ever done this before, but I'm going to walk up to the mayor and say, you better give my husband a job if he loses. And why would she demand that? What would entitle her? Just because she feels entitled? I doubt that. I doubt that she feels entitled to the point that she would demand a job. There's a reason why she is demanding that job. She feels like she's owed something. What are you owed, Patty? Tell me. Tell me. Your secret is safe with me, Patty. Why? Why do you feel like they owe you? He owes you, the mayor. I know why. And you mentioned his kids. Why? Why'd you mention his daughter and who she married? That has no relevance. Zahi, you're a bad boy. YPD, so you know who it was. It was, in my opinion. You know, better not be in Yonkers. All right? Better not be in, keep your ass in Scarsdale. They're going to pull you over. They're going to go back to the 90s and whoop your ass, Zahi. Don't mention the 3rd precinct. You know the third precinct don't play. Okay? We know that from growing up in the Southwest side. The 3rd precinct don't pay. But I think it's disrespectful. There was no need. You could have simply said that his kids got jobs with the Yonkers Police Department, but so many do. Think about others. Please don't call me while I'm on my podcast on Facebook. I'm just saying, please, if you don't mind. Thank you. I never understood this Facebook call thing because anybody could just call you. It's crazy. Yeah, but you mentioned the kids. I just thought that was out of line. I thought the fact that you mentioned his daughter and who she married, it's out of line. You know, mention the fact that his son had an effort, or you made it seem like he couldn't do the job, the plainclothes division or whatever unit. You know, you try to throw a little jab there. That's not cool. That's disrespectful to me. You want to expose something, expose it, but don't be disrespectful and expose everybody. Expose yourself, Hezi. People tell me that Hezi has health issues. They feel sorry for him, some people. I feel bad for what they did to Hezi. You know, he's got health problems. They made him have a heart attack. No, they didn't make him have a heart attack. There's such thing called karma, you know? I believe in that. You reap what you sow, and I don't wish it on anybody. I'm just identifying what's going on with the man. You reap what you sow. It's like there was a man in a convenience store one time on Central Avenue. He had this hunchback, and I'm not trying to make fun of him, but he walked with this hunchback, like, you know. But he's standing at the counter, or not standing, but hunching at the counter. And he calls the guy Red Dot. It was an Indian gentleman, and he said, "Hey, Red Dot." Oh, that pissed me off. And I said, "Are you serious, guy?" I said, "Maybe that's why your back is that way. You can't be like that to people. You get what you sow. You reap what you sow." So, Hezi, be careful what you write. Stop being a pawn. Shut your page down or stay out of Yonkers. They're abusing you. It's obvious by now. This is another hit piece, another article. You did one on Mike Cater last year. And look what it led to. His family was attacked. And now you're attacking Mike Breen's family. Do you have any integrity? Do you draw the line anywhere? Or do they have your balls squeezed so hard that you make yourself look like this? And and again, whether you agree with whether Mike Breen has done much for the city or not, I just don't like the approach. I just think it's it's an overall problem we have in our government. We have individuals that do stuff like this. Last year was Mike Cater. This year's Mike Breen. Next year it'll be someone else. We have to get this out of politics here in Yonkers. And so we have to identify it. We have to see the pattern. It's a pattern. And we must see who the individuals are. And you start to see who they are by the pattern. It starts to become obvious. I mean, he says his wife goes and demands for a job. Why? How does she feel that she can just do that and have the audacity to do that? There's a reason why. Other people have done it. Remember when Liam McLaughlin lost to Mike Cater? What happened there? Did he just disappear? Did he ride off into the sunset? No, he became Inspector General Do Nothing. Inspector Do Nothing. Cushy job. Hanging out with John Rubo, a man he should be investigating, and you don't mention that, Hezzy. Come on. You're going to start to become, I mean, if you haven't already, people just go to you for the entertainment and the gossip, really. But you're not doing anything. You're the tabloids. You are the tabloids. So I just read that. I got that sent to me. And I said, oh, man, I got to talk about that. Mike Breen, what do you think, buddy? You want to come on my show? I'll be easy on you. I mean, Hezzy's done tore you up. What am I going to do? You want to come on the show? I'm always, happy to have you. The offer is always going to be there. You can email me at politicwithfred@gmail.com. I'd love to have you on the show. Let's talk about it. It's out there. I hear your wife, Patty, does some real estate deals with certain individuals, but I don't think it was them. It's the other team. It's the Nader, Tasha Diaz, John Rubo team. You know the guy behind them, Mike. You know it too well. But come on the show. I would love to have you. Patty, you too. Come on. I'll be on your side this time. I don't like disrespect to the family. I'm a family man. I don't like it. So you got to step your game up, Mike. You got to step your game up. It's time to switch sides. Time to come on my side, the right side, the side of the people, Mike. We'll be waiting. But until then, we're going to be on your ass. Not like Hezzy, but we will be on your ass. I am Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Thank you for joining me tonight. Oh, shoot, I've been on an hour. It happens. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. I appreciate it as always. And by the way, did you guys see my video of my recent visit to the building department? Yeah, it was silly. I know, I'm a child. I'm immature. I know. But I thought it was funny. I want to play with the guys, right? Do you rather me go in there and be violent and be crazy? I thought I'd have fun with the guys. And if you didn't see the video, I went into the building department 3 days ago. Initially, I went with no disguise, and I was told I had to be escorted. Yeah, I had to be escorted by a police officer. There was like 4 cops. So then I went back the next day, and I saw one of the guys there I think it's a cop or whatever, and he said, I said, do I have to be escorted again today? He said, yeah. I said, okay. So I went in my car. I found only thing I could find. I found a helmet, hard hat, some goggles, and a headlight. I put that on, and I was hoping that disguise would work. So I went into the building department in disguise, but they spotted me right away. I went in as a guy named Michael, a developer. That was my disguise. I was hoping if I can fool them into believing I was a developer, I would get my permits issued right there. That was the hope. But they recognized me. Couldn't quite fool them, guys. Check it out anyway. It's funny. The video's on there. It's just humor. We're not going to be intimidated. You're not going to entice me to do things that you're hoping I get violent. I know what the point of your tactics are. I'm not going to get violent. I know what the rumors are. And listen, eventually people will see the truth. I'm going to be consistent, and your lies will start to come out. So again, you could join Freddy Vasquez because we taking over, or you could get ran over. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. Thank you for joining me, and I will be on again tomorrow night with an all-new episode of Basement Politics Unfiltered. I am Freddy Vasquez. Thank you for joining me tonight. That was awesome, not childish at all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Someone gets it. Someone understands marketing. I have an MBA in marketing. I'm going to continue to say it because you don't get it, do you? Have a great night, folks. I love you. I love you. I love you. And by the way, if you didn't watch last night's episode, check it out. Tasha Diaz incident. That was crazy. That was crazy, Tasha. You gangster, girl. You gangster. You're a councilwoman now, though. You're the majority leader, not the gang leader. It's a big difference. Big difference. Freddy for mayor. Let's see, man. If I get enough people, I would run. I don't know. Look, I just want us to unite and start to really get involved. That's really the biggest thing. Get involved. Get involved. Get involved. Get involved. Otherwise, you can't complain. They say if you don't vote, you can't complain. I don't believe in that. If you don't get involved, you can't complain. Because if you don't vote, it's because you don't want to vote. These are bad choices. They're horrible. I'm complaining. That's my complaint. I got horrible choices. I don't want to vote. Anyway, Freddy for mayor, you heard it there. That guy is good. I think I'm going to vote for him myself. If he's not on the ballot, I'm going to write his name in. Anyway, folks, thank you again for joining me on Freddy Vasquez. I'll be on tomorrow night. Thank you. Peace. I love you. Love you. Love you. Peace out. Peace out. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great night. Thank you for joining me. That was Freddy Vasquez at Basement Politics. That was my show, the Breen team, on Zahi Jarrett's political assassin, utilizing his tool, or one of his tools, the Yonkers Tribone, that's what I call it, in an attempt to assassinate potential candidate for New York State Assembly, Mike Breen, who will be running against Nader Sayegh. I will be posting the article again on the page. You can read its entirety. It will be on there. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Leave your comments. You can email me at politicwithfred@gmail.com. I appreciate you guys watching tonight. You guys are awesome, always. And I'm enjoying meeting the new people. The new people that I'm meeting, I'm enjoying meeting you guys. I am. I like meeting new people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Freddy wins. Fatality. Freddy wins. Fatality.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vasquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vasquez.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddy Vasquez.
Game over.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddy Vasquez.